Hi, I'm Dr. Angela Mackay, chiropractor and naturopathic physician, and I'm here to go through a case with you for Testimonial Tuesday. And this week we're talking about low testosterone. So I will tell you this is not a quick fix, but it is manageable to get feeling better pretty quickly. So I'm going to tell you about a case of a 38-year-old man. He had 4 kids, and the oldest was 6 and the youngest was 1.5. So he was a very busy dad, but he also had a really super stressful sales job. So he had to travel. It was a high pressure industry. And so he was away from home, back at home, away from home, back at home, traveling a lot, erratic eating, erratic schedule, erratic sleep schedule, both at home and on the road. At home because of the kids and their schedule, and then went on the road because of different things he had to prepare for, different meetings, traveling to the next place for sales. He felt like he couldn't work out because he was so exhausted. He really had been rather athletic before and had lost his mojo there. His sex life was non-existent. He loved his wife, she loved him, but it just wasn't happening in the bedroom. And he had been doing testosterone injection therapy from another doctor, and he was injecting testosterone. He had taken himself off before he came into my office because he wanted to let that wash out and get a good baseline for where he was. So he took himself off of that program, which I don't recommend. I always recommend following up with your provider, and if you don't like what they say, just don't stop anything cold turkey. He didn't like having to do constant injections. He was tired of the long-term treatment there, and he didn't feel like he was getting enough benefit from it to really warrant the hassle that it was. He didn't want to do cream because it was messy, and he would have to do it more frequently, and then he was worried about exposing his kids or his wife to the testosterone cream, so he didn't feel like that was a good option for him. And he wanted some more long-term solution to see if there were other things he could do to boost his libido and his energy levels and feel better. That wasn't going to be a major lifelong project. We did some initial testing, and his thyroid hormones were all normal. His estrogen was normal, so he had high estradiol before in the past, but he didn't when he came to see me. But his testosterone was 275, and the lower end of the range is 270. And for men, the range is 270 to like 1070, somewhere in there, 1090, something like that. And most men are in the 600 to 700 range. So his testosterone was definitely at the low end of normal, and he was not terribly overweight. So if you remember the last video, we talked about 30% of men who are overweight have low testosterone. That wasn't his case, but he was losing a little bit of muscle mass because he had stopped exercising because he didn't have any energy. So the very first thing we did, because he was out traveling a lot of the time and entertaining clients, he would go out for beer, and so we just stopped all beer altogether, and we cut high sugar foods that could be leading to higher levels of insulin and possibly spiking cortisol. So we first thing I asked him to do was stop that, and he could switch and drink something else, or just soda water, tonic water, and lime. We stopped all plastic use because he was traveling. He was getting a lot of to-go food in plastic. He was heating stuff up in plastic, so we stopped that. I recommended then some just very basic weightlifting, even if it was just seated. I wanted him to do whatever he could to support lean muscle development. I realized he wasn't going to go out and start running 5 miles a day from where he was, but any weightlifting that he could do to support lean muscle development to help with testosterone, I wanted him to get going with. He followed up with me about a month later, and he was still not exercising because he still didn't feel like he had the energy for that. His fatigue was a little bit better when I first saw him. If his energy would have been at 10 at fully stocked battery, he was at a 2. About a month in, he was at a 4 out of 10, which is still not great, but it's double where he was. And at that point, we addressed some of his diet stuff and allergies, food intolerances, and things of that nature. And we really examined his sleep because he didn't ever feel rested. And so I asked him to get a sleep study, and it turned out that he did have apnea. Because of his travel, he really didn't want to do a CPAP. I think he did a trial of a CPAP for a month and it didn't work for him. So he ended up with a dental device that was pretty easy for him to take with him while he was traveling for work. And once his sleep was addressed, that helped him immensely. And his energy climbed up to a 7 out of 10. Of course, we're still doing the adrenal protocol that helps raise testosterone. His diet's been cleaned up, his sleep's been cleaned up. And then at his 5-month visit, he was working out with weights 3 times a week like I had asked him. And then 2 days of moderate aerobic exercise. One day he would do something like treadmill or elliptical or whatever they had maybe in the hotel where he was staying. And then he was managing to play pickup basketball with his guy friends. And so he was also getting some social time in and being able to be active and have fun. He would have 1 to 2 down days a month, but generally he was feeling much better and able to be present as a parent, as a husband, and do his job, and really feeling a lot more functional. There is hope. It does take a little bit of time and a little bit of effort, but you can be feeling way better than you are if you're having the problem of low testosterone. If you have any questions, drop them in the box, and I've got more tips coming up for you the rest of the week.